Hi everyone, this video will be on what racial identity entails and how my own racial identity was developed. To begin, I would like to define race as ethnicity, and I will be using Janet E. Helm's definitions of race and ethnicity and how they both contribute to how an individual develops their racial identity. Secondly, I would like to go into how we do race on a day-to-day basis, and this includes buffering, code switching, and bridging. And ultimately, I would like to conclude with my class experience and how I did in this class, GRI 201, and my overall experience. So let's begin. Here we have the definition of race, which according to this reading is sharing physical characteristics or genetic origin with a group, as opposed to ethnicity, which refers to a sense of membership or collectiveness with a group who tend to share social and cultural heritage such as customs, language, and religion. Once again, I'd like to reiterate that race refers to physical traits and characteristics such as skin tone, coloring, physical makeup, and ethnicity is more a sense of collectiveness. The reading really does go into shared history, which depending on what race or ethnicity that is, it just depends. I am Hispanic, therefore I dealt with the repercussions of what accompanies parents who have immigrated and whose legal status in this country was unstable and illegal for a point of time. Luckily, they have both become citizens of the United States, so that is something that I no longer have to worry about. But there was a point in time where they hid that from me, and I was unaware of the circumstance. I honestly did not even know what it meant to have papers at one point in time. As I aged, they spoke with us honestly, and we were there while they worked on their process to become citizens and, first of all, residents and then citizens. So that would be a shared experience that many individuals in our country face, with the fear of having their parents deported, just a sense of secrecy. That would be a shared sense of collectiveness, I suppose. Another example of this would be Native Americans and their mistrust for the government, this mainly being because of broken treaties, no sense of respect, getting their land taken away, which ultimately has led to a negative relationship. So now that we understand what racial identity entails and the difference between race and ethnicity, I would like to introduce my own. I identify as a Mexican American woman. I am a proud Latina. I was born and raised here in Reno, Nevada, to parents who immigrated from Mexico. My mom is from Guadalajara and my dad is from El DF, or Mexico City. I am bilingual. Spanish was actually my first language, and when I first entered kindergarten, we got great support from our teacher, who actually encouraged my parents to continue to teach us Spanish, because she reiterated that we would pick English up in school. We were never placed in ELL or ESL, and I honestly believe that it helped us. I have been able to keep both of my languages, and I am proud to be bilingual. Another part of my identity would be Catholicism, and I feel like for a lot of Mexican Americans as well, I grew up going to Mass every Saturday or Sunday, and eventually that is what helped me decide to have a quinceañera. We had quinceañera classes, and that was all part of my religion, which I believe is part of my racial identity, or a sense of collectiveness with fellow Mexicans. Now that I have explained my own personal racial identity, I would like to continue forth and explain what doing race means and how we practice race on a daily basis, and how for many individuals that entails buffering, code switching, and bridging. So let's go into buffering, and that is defined as the social identity function that a person uses to protect themselves when they feel that they are in a scenario of threat or discrimination. This ultimately leads to what is defined as code switching, or when a person switches personas when entering or performing within and exiting the mainstream. An example of this would be when an individual who identifies as a different race enters a room or a white space and feels the need to change their persona to eliminate the possibility of discrimination. Another example is when an individual acts differently with individuals of their shared race or ethnicity as opposed to those who are not. This ultimately leads to what is described as bridging, so achieving friendship and intimacy with those who differ from oneself. As you can see, many individuals perform race or do race on a daily basis. They first identify if there is a threat of discrimination in the room. If there is, they most likely enter what is called code switching, or put on a persona in order to fit into that space. This could differ depending on who the individual is. For example, a white person entering a non-white space, or a non-white individual entering a white space. For the most part, when this occurs and the persona has built, that persona is there in order to bridge, so in order to achieve friendship, or in order to be able to interact with individuals without the fear of discrimination. My overall experience for this class is that it was wonderful. It was really interesting to see everyone's takes on topics such as race, ethnicity, the color line, non-white space, white space, male superiority to women. I feel like it is extremely important to open up about these topics, to open up the conversation about racism, discrimination, intersectionality, because they are all things present in our everyday lives. Overall, this class experience was wonderful. I think just sharing our stories moves us forward and we progress. Thank you, everyone. That was my overall presentation on what my racial identity is and what it means to do race or perform race on a day-to-day basis. Thank you very much.